Rodney Jerkins, Genuine, Faith Evans. I mean, this dude's done it all. He definitely knows his stuff. I remember when I met this dude, we were in Nashville about a year ago, and we got a ride to the airport together. We were at an event. We got a ride from Uber, and it was one of my first times ever using Uber, but that's how I met this dude. And yeah, we've hit it off ever since, and we both found we were both into music and music production, and it's just been really, really cool getting to know this dude. And yeah, Kevin, why don't you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself and what your background is and how you got started in this industry?
Well, first of all, thank you for that interview. I mean, well, not interview, but for that, introduction. I kind of wanted to know who you were talking about at first because, you had so many things to say. I appreciate you, Aaron. I mean, it's been great meeting you as well. And basically, the way that I got started just in the industry, I started off playing instruments in the church years ago. At 4 years old, I'm playing the drums in the church. And, years later, I went from playing the drums to playing the piano to now playing the organ for my church, well, a few churches. And, throughout that whole time as musicians, as music producers, we all have this thing where, we kind of walk into music. And once we walk into music, we, make some kind of decision somewhere along the way that we want to become music producers and want to do it professionally. So, just like everybody else, I bought my first piece of equipment and, start playing around with music for a while, and the rest is history. So that's pretty much how I got started. I started off in church, though.
Awesome. Yeah, I got started in music back when I was a kid. I was about 11 years old, and I first got introduced into band and all that kind of stuff. Actually, even before that, I remember learning how to play the recorder in 4th grade. But ever since then, like I had stuck with some sort of music all my life, like ever since. Like it's been from doing it in school and band, marching band, concert band, symphony band, jazz band, anything. Like I've had different bands with other musicians that I've played in. I've played percussion, I've played guitar, just done a little bit of everything. I actually have a music minor with an emphasis in percussion. And along the way, I kind of just picked up, that this is something that I really, really was passionate about and that I wanted to do. So over the years, I started acquiring different pieces of equipment and just started experimenting with it and everything. And what's really fascinating to me about you is that you've actually done what a lot of people have not done with their music, and that is start to make profit off of what is stored on your hard drive. Right? Like a lot of us, like we like to do music in our spare time and all of that, but maybe we don't always think, we might think like, hey, it'd be really nice to get paid for this, but you've actually gotten paid for it. You've gotten it on TV and into film and through all these different other forms of media out there. And I guess the question that I have for you is how do you transition into that? How does one go about getting music into television, into the right hands of the right people that can get it onto television? Because I imagine this is kind of an industry where there's a lot of competition and a lot of favoritism, I guess, and a lot of maybe you just have to know the right people. How does one start off taking the music that they have stored on their hard drive, their beats and everything that and gear it not only towards television, but actually get it into the right hands of people that can get it there and pay them for it?
Well, I mean, there's a few different sections of that. I mean, when it comes to, major placements, I mean, the way that I've worked with those artists is, first of all, as a music producer, one thing that I did was I had passion, and I kept that passion regardless of, at the beginning, of course, when we start off, it always seems like it's never going to work. Where we end up working jobs, we end up doing things that we really don't want to do just to continue to be able to pay our bills. So the passion was first. And from the passion, I just started meeting different people. I actually got a manager, and my manager was very very well inside of the industry. But when it comes to the television placements, after years, like as a young music producer, I thought, like all of us music producers, that once you start getting major placements, you start making all this money, and you start being on TV, and you start having your own shows, and you start getting all these interviews. And for whatever reason, when I got my major placements, I'm sitting in the studio with these guys, and I wasn't making the money that I felt like I should be making. I mean, here I am with a Chris Brown with Tank and Chris Brown, and the money was good. It was my first time ever making, I think it was $15,000 for one beat up front. And, I got the back end and everything was good, but I don't know. I mean, because of what I saw on television, I thought it was so much different. So after years of trying to get major placements over and over and over again, I just thought to myself, like, I never want to only be able to do just one thing. I never wanted to have one stream of income. So I would always watch television, and I think I was watching, I forget what show, I think at the time it was like MTV Cribs or something like that. And I noticed there were a lot of hip hop music in the background. And then I started watching, different reality shows and different things like that. And I just started noticing that there were instrumentals all over these shows. So that led me to go and try to, first of all, the first way I started, I used to find music supervisors on shows, write their names down, and email them music. That's how I started. I actually started doing that. And then after, making a few contacts, I just started digging a little deeper. But the most important thing that I learned through all of the hell, all of the bull that I went through, is that if you want TV placements, you have to know how to format your beats. You see, what I thought is you can just send them music that we would send rappers or singers. And there's a specific TV beat making format that you must know in order to get your TV music placed. So that's first. If I were to start over, that's the first thing I would tell any producer trying to get their music in television. Learn the TV beat making formula, because you can't just send music to TV companies and they're just going to place your music. It doesn't work like that. You have to know the specific formula. So, I started submitting music after getting turned down years and years and years. I finally got the formula. Once I got the formula, now, every time I turn in TV music, I get it placed.
That's awesome. So it's a duplicatable process. Once you have the formula and you implement it, you can do it over and over and over again predictably, is what you're saying. Is that right? That's
right. Once you know the formula, you can go and get your music placed on any television station, any movie, any, TV and film station, period.
Yeah, like I think back to all the TV shows I've watched, and maybe just unconsciously, I never really noticed all the background music. But when you consciously think about it, you realize that without that music, it just wouldn't be the same show at all. Like it wouldn't convey as much emotion or set the mood or whatever. So when you go about creating this music, do you have a particular type of movie or TV show or type of mood that you're going for? Like when you're trying to get this music out there for a particular show, or do you just send it to somebody and they pass it around till somebody, comes knocking at your door, asking for it?
Well, the way that it happens is, first of all, you want, like, one of the most asked for pieces of music in television and film, believe it or not, is hip hop music. They ask for more hip hop music than practically any other genres of music. And I found that to be funny that at the time, that's the only type of music I made was hip hop music. So I started off just submitting a bunch of hip hop music to a few different what they call music libraries. And once I submitted my music to these music libraries, of course, you do the contract, and then they send you the agreement, and then they actually place your music with their database of supervisors and opportunities. But so, there are certain situations where they ask for specific types of music. So one thing that I like about submitting TV music is it keeps me versatile. I don't have to sit and only worry about making just one type of music. For instance, I have a team of producers now that I help them get their music placements. And last month we had a reggaeton opportunity. Now all of these guys make hip hop music, but because of that reggaeton opportunity, they were able to create different genres of music and open up different spaces of opportunity for themselves. So, but to answer your question, I just started off creating hip hop music, sending it off, and then, people started to respond. And, that's pretty much how it happened for me.
Okay. So what would you say is the biggest difficulty for somebody to try and get their music out there that does not have this formula? Like what are the things that they would have to overcome on their own that would be very, very difficult? Like I understand that, it's very, very hard to get your music onto television if you don't know exactly how to do it. And there's so much talent out there and likely a lot of competition, but a lot of music may not ever see the light of day. It's stuck on somebody's hard drive or somebody gives up on it because they don't know exactly how to get it out there. So what are the things that this formula you have overcome? Like what things does this formula allow somebody to overcome so they don't have those setbacks and they're able to just focus on creating the music and just tapping into their own creativity rather than having to worry so much about the business side and all the things that go along with it?
Right. Well, one thing that it overcomes, and this is something that all of us music producers deal with, as you know, and as you said earlier, a lot of us have a lot of music on our hard drives that we're not doing anything with. Now, when you have a bunch of music and you love creating music and you're not making any money with your music, that brings up frustration. That helps you lose confidence in your music. And what happens when you lose confidence in your music? You start to fall back from creating music. And then before you know it, you're not even creating music at all again. So one thing that my formula actually helps you overcome,
be specifically geared for like what types of people? I'm sure a lot of people that are in our audience right now are probably the type that would definitely get something out of this. But in your own words, like who is this for? Like describe the person that would get the most benefit from this TV beat making formula.
Okay, well, it's for, I say that this is for music producers that's in that space that, you've been submitting music, you've been trying to do this music thing for years, you haven't gotten any beats placed, you haven't been selling very many beats, you might even work a job, and you're just in this place where you're either going to give up music, because another thing that comes with this, Aaron, is that, we have our families and our friends telling us, hey, you need to go get a real job. Hey, you need to go start a business. But here we are passionate about music. So who it's for is for the producer that is just sick and tired of being sick and tired, that really has the drive and the dream to live off your music, but has no clue how to turn your music into income. See, we all have the muscle to be able to make the music, but we don't have the muscle to be able to turn that music into income. So it's for the producer that wants to turn his music into income, that wants another stream of income that will constantly pay you on a long-term basis.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. And so one of the things you mentioned earlier was that you may have gotten a TV placement, but it doesn't always last. And so the way to make it last is something that you probably cover in this formula, how to sustain that and how to keep that drive and that energy to keep producing, keep creating music. And with how does, like, can you give some specifics on how this formula will help somebody sustain a career or whatever in their music producing efforts to get their music placed in TV and film?
Yes, well, the way that the TV beat making formula works is you learn the rules for submitting your music to television. Now, once you get that music placed in television, another secret to getting your music placed in television is, as producers, we don't want to send one beat. We don't even want to send 5 beats. We want to send 100. We want to send 200. We want to send 300. Why? Because the more music you send towards the industry, think about it like this. You send music to the television industry and they place over 300 of your instrumentals. What happens is, after all of that stuff starts, recurring and, and everything starts happening, you start getting paid royalties. And once those royalties stop from the day you start to get placements, a year later, after you start to get those placements, those TV checks come in every 3 months. For instance, I'm still getting royalty checks right now for music I did back in 2003. We're in 2016 right now at the time of recording this video, and I'm still getting checks from 2003, music I did back then. So if you think about that, that's really the only way to sustain your music career without worrying about who's paying for music, without worrying about what the industry is doing, without worrying about, who's selling albums. That's really the only way. You can put your music in this TV system and it'll keep paying you over and over and over and over again. And once you get there, why would you want to stop?
Yeah, exactly. And, like a lot of these shows, they run for several years, several seasons. And so you have the potential to be asked to keep coming back and submitting music or to keep getting it used over and over again, especially with syndication and reruns and all that kind of stuff. So I imagine that the royalties and everything are handled by somebody else. And like once you submit your music, that's pretty much your end of the deal. And then after that, and after all the agreements and everything are made, you just start waiting for the checks to come in the mail. And like you said, you've been getting paid on stuff you did back in 2003, which 13 years ago. That's pretty amazing. And
right.
So one of the other things that you've talked about before is kind of this closed door community. Like if you're not with the in crowd, like knowing the right people or whatever, but this method that you have, this formula, it teaches you how to put music into like the hands of these publishing companies, or like I know ASCAP and BMI are like two of the ones I've been most familiar with. Is that who you directly get your music into the hands of, or is there somebody before that submits it to them?
Well, basically the way it works, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC is your public rights organization. So okay. They're the people that once you actually send your music to the music libraries or the music supervisors, they place your music on television. Now, once you send that music to the music supervisors, they log your music and your name with ASCAP, BMI, or CSAC. And what happens is once that song is logged to your account, every time it plays on television, as many times as it plays on television, you incur a royalty. And that's how you keep track of everything that happens. So the process goes, you hand your music to this music supervisor or music library that you've established a relationship with. Once you send music and it gets placed, they're going to keep contacting you. But it's in your benefit to constantly send music to more companies. And, let's say you have 20 companies you're submitting music to who's all logging all of your stuff with ASCAP. After a couple months, years, you won't have to sit back and create any more music. You'll literally, like, I'm at the stage now where if I never create another beat for TV, I'm totally taken care of. Totally.
That's amazing right there. And, like this formula, like you can't really find this formula for getting your music placed on television and film just by doing something as simple as a Google search. Like, this is like, I've never even heard of or known anybody till I met you that's actually successfully done this. So like, personally, that is. And so like, what is it about it that that makes it so it's like it's being kept secret from everybody, right? And is there a reason for that? Like, what is it about the industry that kind of, you know, sets the tone for the way all this stuff actually goes, as opposed to the way that we hope it might be, or the way that you're making it happen right now? Like what is it, you know, about the music industry that's kind of made it to where this stuff is kind of a secret?
Well, I think it's like anything, Aaron. I mean, you don't know unless you're in it. You know, see, a lot of music producers look at what's on TV. We see what's on TV, and that's exactly what we think everything is like. Like me being in the studio with Rodney Jerkins and Chris Brown. Until I was in the studio with Rodney Jerkins, as far as keeping it a secret, the only thing that, I mean, and it's really not a secret, but it is presented that way, and it's only because for so many years, music producers, you've never heard music producers talking about placing their music on television. Now, you just recently noticed the music on television shows. That's the same thing with me. That year that I realized music was in television. So the thing about the formula that keeps it kind of sacred or keeps it like that is the fact that as music producers, we don't understand that how we make music and send it to an artist is not the same way we would make music and send it to a television company. It's just two different formats. They don't want it. Like, think about it. One no-no in submitting music. Like, you could submit a song to a rapper, and at the end of that beat, you can have the beat just fade out. If you have a track just fade out to a TV station, they will deny you.
Oh, wow.
There's a certain term and a certain way that you have to end your music. And if you've never been in that situation, and another thing, there is no one talking about this, so you can't Google this information. You won't find it anywhere. This is something that you only have to know, either having television placements or getting enough, you know, getting your music turned down enough to where you understand that, okay, this is how I'm supposed to submit music. So if you think about it, that's the only thing, is that you can't submit music how we would send to rappers or singers or even Chris Brown or the music industry. They have a totally different format that if you want television placements, I can say this with confidence, you will not get television placements unless you know this formula.
Right. Yeah, and that's definitely something that I'm sure a lot of people aren't aware of. It's just something that you know, like, you have to, like you said, either have the experience, or you have to, like, just be, you know, go through all the hardships of, I know from what I've seen, it kind of takes you from, here's how to create the beats, here's kind of the format of the beats themselves. But then you take it a step further and you're like, okay, here's what to do with it once these beats are created. Here's what to do with it to get it from point A to point B. And it encompasses a lot of stuff. And so can you just kind of hit on some of those high points of what it all covers?
You froze, Aaron?
Yeah, you froze too.
Okay. All right, here we go. So to answer your question, basically, you know, I want producers to understand that this is not a course of me teaching you how to make beats. You already know how to do that. They know, and the specific formula, the specific music to be able to make sure that they get placed on television. Because, you know, before I knew this formula, I figured because I made beats, I could get television placements. And it took me years of submitting music to figure out, you have to not only know how to submit the music, but you have to, see, in this, what comes with the formula, I'll show you the formula, I'll show you exactly what to do with your beats, and then I'll give you places to send your music after the beats are done. Then I even show you how to, like set up your ASCAP and show you how to set up your BMI and show you how to do those things. But on top of that, we also offer you a television deal where you skip all of the heartache, all of the headache of having to go and try to figure out what to say to music supervisors. How do you contact music supervisors? How do you contact music libraries? I already have a staff of decision makers that's already ready and waiting for you to submit your music. So it's really the only place that you can learn the formula, have to sing your music on your own when you decide to, and on top of that, get a chance to have a guaranteed TV deal where you can submit your music for placement through my contacts that are already placing my music and my team's music. So, it's really a win-win-win-win. And again, I'm not teaching producers how to make beats. I'm teaching you how to make beats that get placed in television. And we start from the intro to the final portion of the beat, which will almost guarantee you get every beat that you make from here on out placed.
That's awesome, and I think that's where the distinction lies in what you're offering versus somebody that's just teaching somebody how to make the beats. Like, you're actually teaching them how to take the beats, maybe even the beats that they already have on their hard drive that they've already put their hard work into, and just getting it to a format to where somebody would accept it to place it onto television and film. And so I think that's a really, really cool thing. I think that's a heck of a deal that you're offering, because it's going to take out all the heartache and all the frustration and all that, and just get straight to the point and get people what it is that they truly want, which is to monetize their music. And how cool would it be to get your music onto TV? Like, I'm sure, I know you've experienced this many times, but describe that feeling that you had the very first time that your name came up as being credited for getting your music placed onto TV. Like, that had to be just incredible, right?
Man, I was sitting at the television with my family, my kids, my wife, and we're just watching, I think it was Love and Hip Hop. And we're watching Love and Hip Hop, and then I heard some music in the background, and I'm listening, I'm like, that sounds like my music. And then, and then again, more music came on. Like, I remember the very first time I heard it, I heard my music on it was 6 times, 6 different pieces of music that I've done. And it's a feeling that we really can't explain, because if it's one thing that I know about producers, it's that we want the freedom to be able to do music when we want in our dream studio. You watching this video, none of us really want to go to work for someone else, especially the day that we know that we're put here to create music for a living. So outside that part, we also respected as for my kids, for my wife at the time wanted me to go back and get a job. Once she heard my music on television, that instantly put me into a different category of, hey, you're a professional producer. Keep doing what you're doing. And then it gave me this confidence that I just felt unstoppable, man. I felt unstoppable versus going out and doing what everybody else is doing that's not working. The biggest benefit of having your music on television, especially for music producers that want to sell beats, once you're able to tell your audience of artists that you're connected to television shows, Keeping Up with Kardashians, Love and Hip Hop, you can now charge more for your music because you're now a credible professional music producer. You can charge more money for your music, and that's one of the biggest things. So you come in not having problems selling beats. You learn the formula. You get around, create a TV stream of income, and you have your music production stream of income. But now people respect you. So when you tell them you charge $1,000 for your instrumentals, they have to buy it because you're now credible. You're not just a guy in the garage making music. And that's the biggest benefit that I think music producers really fail to realize. You need that credentials in order to really sell the beats like you really want to do. And so that's one of the biggest things that TV placement will do for you, the music producer.
That's incredible. That's amazing. And I definitely get that feeling from creating. Like, I love just being able to be free to create and use music as that way to create. And I just, like, my whole life, I've just really been into music. I've loved performing it. I've loved recording it. I've, it's incredible to think that you can actually take something you're truly passionate about, that you're doing in your own home, and submit it and just earn money off of it, but not only getting paid once, but getting paid for years to come, as what you were talking about, getting paid for music you did back in 2003, with these royalties and everything. So if you're on the fence out there about whether or not to do this, to see how this can actually benefit you, go visit my website where you can get your hands on this, because I'm telling you, this is an incredible formula. And I mean, like, I've been through it. It's great. It's awesome. It really just takes you from point A to point B and just gets you in a place where you're not so stressed out about what it is that you're doing. You're not having to worry about having to do everything on your own. Your hand is held the whole way. And a lot of the stuff on here, like, Kevin will give you all his contacts and hook you up with people that will give you what you need to get your music placed on TV. And so if you act within 24 hours from now and you visit this website, and it's not showing up right now, but it'll be on the screen somewhere. But I'm just going to say it right now. It's producer.biztipsfromaaron.info. So that's producer.biztipsfromaaron.info. And you can get your hands on this very formula that Kevin has put in years to develop and hone his own craft in doing this. This will be just available to you, and you'll be able to get possibly a TV deal. Kevin, you want to tell them a little bit more about the TV deal that you were talking about, if they act in the next 24 hours?
Yes. Yes. The TV deal goes like this. I have multiple publishing deals that I've signed with multiple television companies and music supervisors that tell me that they will place, or actually listen to place, whatever music I submit. So I have a TV team right now of over 50 producers that we have opportunities every month. They submit me music. I have my team screen the music, and then we send it off. And it's literally, for those music producers, you ask yourself, how much money is your music making you sitting on your hard drive versus having your music sit in a music library that's going to turn it into income. It's really an easy situation. And the biggest thing that, I want to say to music producers is, if you're on the fence, and if you're one of those producers that's sitting back thinking, where can I see someone else that's done this? I have testimonial videos down there. I have thousands of testimonial videos. But I have videos down there where you can see producers and exactly what the TV formula have done for them. You can also see what the TV formula has done for Aaron. And as well, you can see what knowing the TV formula has done for me. You see, I'm a music producer. I live off my music. I don't work a job. I do music when I want. I have no boss. I'm my own boss. I get paid more now than I've ever gotten paid at any job that I've ever worked at. And it's all because of me placing my music in television. Now, last but not least, if you're the music producer that says, I don't have the money to get this, Or how much does it cost? You see, that's the wrong question to be asking, how much does it cost? You see, what you should be asking yourself is how much is it costing you not knowing information? That frustration. At the end of the day, when you come home from work and you look at your equipment, knowing that you're not turning any of your music into money, knowing that or thinking you will never be known, or, because I know how that feels. I used to sit back wondering, will I ever be able to do music? Will I ever be able to quit this job? Will I ever be able to live off my music? I'm going to tell you this, and this is just honest to God truth. Doing it any other way without knowing how to do it will take you years of frustration, heartache, and pain. This here is a situation for you to do something with the music that you already have that will excite you, put that excitement back in your music, back into your production, so you can turn that and all of the music on your hard drive into income. So, that's pretty much the basics of the deal. I mean, you have to find out more. You got to get it within this next 24 hours, because after the 24 hours, then I'm scratching the deal, and then the deal won't be available anymore.
Right. And that's, like I said, man, like this is a heck of a deal from my friend Kevin here. And the fact that he's even here sharing this with me and you, it's incredible that somebody who's actually been through this and has experienced everything that he has is able to share these things. It's stuff that's unheard of. Like, I'd never heard of it before, and I'd never even known that there was a difference in submitting music and formatting it in a certain way for television versus for an artist to maybe select and record as their own or whatever. So anyway, once again, the website to go to is producer.biztipsfromaaron.info. I'm going to put that link right below here on this video, and you'll be able to go there and you'll be able to get started. You'll be able to see all the testimonials of people that have worked with Kevin and that have had success. And in addition, you'll be able to kind of get an idea more of what this is all about. But I guarantee you that, this is just the tip of the iceberg, what we've discussed here today. And so I want to thank you once again for being here. I want to just highly, highly encourage you, if you're on the fence about any of this, if you want to start turning your hard work that you've already done with music, something that you're already passionate about, something that you've already put all the work into, if you want to just take that one extra little step and start monetizing that, this is definitely something that you want to look into. You want to check it out immediately within the next 24 hours. And again, that link is producer.biztipsfromaaron.info. So make sure you visit that link, and I look forward to seeing what happens for you in the future. And I know that Kevin is also looking forward to being a part of it and working with you as well. So Kevin, any last words you got here?
Hey, man, I just want to say, man, I'm excited to hear your music, the producers that do decide to go ahead and get this course. Again, this is information that you won't find anywhere else, and I'm doing it for the producer because when I was coming up, I didn't have this information available. So I literally already went through all of the pain so you can get right in, have this shortcut, and skip all of the pain and the learning curve and get right to where it is that you want to get, which is to live off your music. I believe in you, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.
All right, man. Kevin, thank you so much for coming on here and agreeing to do this today, because I personally got value out of it, and I know everybody else that's watching probably did too. I mean, if you didn't, then you must not have just been paying attention. But anyway, thank you so much for doing this, and I look forward to what happens next. So take care, everybody.